24 minutes past 2. Now, a book set in Norfolk by an author from Norfolk is being republished next month. Set in the 1800s, definitely one for the history fans. It's called The Low Road, Katharine Quarmby's debut novel. Shortlisted, by the way, for the New Angle Prize for Literature. No mean feat. And the award highlights the best books set in or influenced by East Anglia. Katharine has a long history, is an extraordinary journalist as well. Katharine, welcome. Thank you for being with us. Lovely to have you on the show. What a career that you've had. What made you turn to writing novels rather than the investigative journalism and the global news that you've done for so long?
Hi, Louise. Yeah, lovely to be here. Well, I suppose I wanted to, first of all, just investigate this story I found in my hometown of Harleston in the Waveney Valley that some of you will probably know. And I started to look at it as a true story and trace this story of this orphan girl who had been transported to Botany Bay and write it as non-fiction, which I'd done before, but it wasn't possible to trace her once she'd gone to Australia. So it was that point that I decided I would sort of take the leap into adult fiction and write it as a novel.
Extraordinary. So a story that kind of met its natural conclusion too early, that you would have loved to have been able to follow, but you couldn't. You then use that to sow the seeds. What can you tell us about the story then?
Yeah, so I came across the story when we were looking for like a family walk, as you do, and I found it in a walk of a book of local walks in Harleston, and it had this mention of a woman who'd been buried at the end of Harleston at this place called Lushbush, and she had been suspected of murdering her baby daughter, so the crime of infanticide, and had then died by suicide. So I was really intrigued by this because she'd left another little girl behind, a daughter who was not even 10 years old. And I really wanted to find out what had happened to her. So it was just sort of sheer curiosity on my part, really, just wanting to find out what happened to this orphan girl. And so that's how I started. And I traced her, as I said, all the way to the shipping list when she was transported.
Because it's founded in truth, Katharine, did you then feel more of a responsibility with telling the fictional side of the story? Did you almost give it the ending that you really hoped that you'd found if you'd been able to trace it factually?
Yeah, that's right. So everything in the book is really based on truth until that point where they set sail for Botany Bay. So I did feel this sense of responsibility both to the real people who formed the basis of the story and also, I guess, the sort of mosaic of women's lives that I reflected in the Australian part of the novel. And I did want them to some extent to have what you might call sort of in sort of fictional terms a sort of arc of redemption and hope, because it's so bleak for working class women in many ways. Women's fates were very difficult, so it gave me that chance to give it this kind of redemption.
I know that you came to a conclusion that was premature for you in terms of the research around the lives of the people in the book, but in terms of the social history that you would have needed to know about and the Australian culture that you would have needed to know about, how much research did that take?
Yeah, it took quite a lot of research, and I was really lucky because I got a grant from the Society of Authors to travel to Australia. And for me, like, local historians are these unsung heroes. And I spoke to local historians in Australia, in New South Wales, in the Hunter Valley, and in Tasmania, which was known in colonial times as Van Diemen's Land, as well as local historians in East Anglia and in London. So, every time that you write a book, there's all these people behind it who have helped you, and I always think it's really important to say thank you for those people.
The book, The Low Road, has been shortlisted for the New Angle Prize for Literature. I wonder if that feels even more exciting because this is an award for people that have written books set in or influenced by East Anglia. So actually, it shows that you've done a really good job with a local story.
Oh, I was so honoured to be on the shortlist. So, 'cause for me, we came from sort of mining country, Leicestershire, when I was 7. My mum and dad were teachers, so we settled in Harleston, and that kind of beautiful watery landscape, it means a huge lot to me, to my family, to my kids. canoeing on the River Waveney, swimming in the Waveney when there's no sewage in it, and just that sense of this beautiful, unsung and quite sort of mysterious landscape. And I wanted to get that across and to be on the list with some fantastic authors who also sum up different areas of the Norfolk coastline and the East Anglian coastline generally was a real honour, as I said.
The reviews for The Low Road have been great as well. Just remind us, because this story might be ringing a bell for some listeners if they've already read it. It's being republished next month, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. So it's coming out in paperback in November the 6th, and it was published first in hardback 2 years ago. It's been around for a couple of years, and it's obviously available in other formats as well. But I've done quite a lot in the local area on the book, so I've kind of done like a little walking tour.
Lovely!
Heritage Open Days, and I've done things at the local historical society in Harleston. So it is very much a local book rooted for me in my community, I suppose.
Katharine, that is lovely. Thank you for being with us, Katharine. Always good to chat. And tell us when your next book's out. Come on. And we should actually also book you in to talk about your journalistic career, because it's pretty extraordinary as well. So don't be a stranger. Come on again soon.
That would be lovely. Thanks so much.
You take care. Thank you so much to Katharine Quarmby. The debut novel, Low Road. You can see that get the hardback now, and the paperback is coming out next month.